Bonjour, ça va? Are you a vampire? Because if you are, you probably are going to like this dish, steak tartare. It's raw beef, which I know gets at some people, but it's very similar to a ceviche or sushi. And actually, when I order steaks, I order it bleu, which is rarer than rare. Just sear it on both sides for a couple seconds. I'm good to go. Okay, let's talk about ingredients that we're going to need. A shallot, eggs, cornichons, capers, Dijon mustard, microgreens, and some top sirloin. You could use another cut of beef, but you really want beef that is not fatty. If you have some crostinis or bruschettinis, that would be great. And you'll need some olive oil, or you can use avocado oil or grapeseed oil. A mixing bowl. You could use some type of mold, or a bowl works too. Un petit whisk, a very small whisk, and a cutting board and a knife. Okay, so steak tartare is actually really easy to make because there's no real heat involved. You just gotta cut a bunch of things and mix it all together. But we do wanna start in a very strict order. We wanna go with the least harsh thing to the harshest thing. So what I mean by that, we wanna do our greens, some more aromatic type stuff, and then the last thing we'll do will be the raw meat. Okay, I'm gonna show you a little pro tip for shallots. Do you ever have garlic peels or onion peels or shallot peels on your cutting board and you cough or something and they fly everywhere? Well, here's a little trick. If you actually soak these ingredients for a bit, this is paper. This comes off much easier when you do that because it's wet now and it's damp. Well, little trick to help you out. All right, so I'm gonna cut off an end of the shallot, and what I'm gonna do is actually gonna have it just like this, down the middle, and now I have two halves like so. Because of that damp paper, now what I can do is I could just peel off the end much easier, and then instead of having to let it go everywhere. Okay, now that we have our shallot peeled, we need a very fine dice. So I'm gonna show you a couple ways that we could do this. One is we could just easily take our knife, go cut, and then go this way, and we're good to go. But let me show you another thing that we can do. If I actually were to take off these layers in pieces, like so, gotta have these layers. Okay, so now that we have these pieces, what I can do is I could actually flatten them out. And if I flatten them out, now what I can do is we could first cut lengthwise. I can line all the pieces together. Great. And now I can go horizontal. And look at that. I'm getting a super fine dice. Noir. You can make something like that. Okay, the next thing we're going to work on are the cornichons. So I'm going to take, we only need about, honestly, a tablespoon of every single ingredient. So that's good enough. You have a couple ways you can cut. You can cut this way and then do a rough chop and whatever. I'm a fan, honestly, of making things as flat as possible. I don't want stuff to roll. So I'm going to cut it lengthwise first, then it can lay down. Awesome. Then what I can do is I can do our same trick. I'm being very cautious, paying attention to where my fingers are. Cool. I'm going to do it again on this other one right here. Cool. Great. Line it all up again. And now, beautiful, I can go cross section. And there we go. Okay, the next thing we're gonna work on is our top sirloin. Now what we wanna do, we wanna give it a little wash. We want to make sure we're good. And you wanna make sure that the meat has been cold the entire time because we don't want any bacteria, okay? So if you haven't washed it already, go ahead, wash this in a sink really quickly. Okay, so this is about 200 grams of top sirloin. So what I'm gonna do first with my knife, I wanna remove the fatty bits because as much as I do love the flavor of fat, and I agree with it, is it's not gonna be good for a steak tartare. Now what we have is we have our steak here. So what I'm gonna do is we need these to be in little cubes. Everything is in that way. I'm gonna first just cut this in half. Let's take some time. Cool. Now what I have here, we have this pieces. We're gonna just make this into cubes. So how I'm gonna do that first, I'm gonna cut lengthwise. I'm gonna go here. The main lesson for this cooking video is make things flat. Don't have things wobble on your cutting board. You don't want to deal with that. Now what I'm going to do is, once I have these flat pieces, we need to basically cut this into little cubes. Flatten it out a little bit. I'm just going to run my knife down, just like this. Looks great. I'm just taking my time. This is more about precision than it is speed. Again, we're aligning it again. We're pushing everything to the blade to make it good, to make it centered. And there we go. And the name of the game right now is precision. Precision is more important than speed. We're fine. Cool. All right, I'm going to put this into a little bowl. Let's get moving. Okay, we've prepped most of our ingredients. We have our capers right here. We have our cornichons that have been diced. We have our very finely cut shallot, and we have our beef. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna align them inside a bowl like this one, just on different places, as if you're Bob Ross. You have a little painting thing, and we're just putting them around. And then we'll mix it all together in a minute. Okay, I'm basically taking a tablespoon-esque of each ingredient. I'm gonna lay it down, just like that. All right, so I'm aligning the bowl, or kind of like where I'm holding my paint, all around, just like that. And I'm leaving the center for a very specific reason. So I have about a tablespoon, a tablespoon, a tablespoon. Now with the Dijon mustard, we're gonna do about 2 tablespoons actually, right in the middle. I'm gonna open it up. Okay, now what you're gonna need the egg. We only need the egg yolk actually. I'm gonna take that yolk, just plop it right in the center. Okay, now that I have my palette of ingredients, I have the top sirloin, the egg yolk, the mustard, the capers, the cornichon, and the shallots. I'm gonna take my little whisk and I'm just gonna go right here in the middle. And I'm only gonna do the egg yolk and the mustard. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to add a little bit more of oil to the center. And surprise, we're making mayo. That's what this basically is. We're just gonna go crazy. And then as that turns into a type of sauce, then we can fold the rest of the stuff in. You could totally use a different, you don't have to use a whisk to do that. I would say use a rubber spatula if you have one, or a bigger spoon, something that's gonna make your life easier. Look at that, that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for this to be like a sauce type of thing. And a little bit more oil, not too much. Now I'm just incorporating everything together. All right, we're basically done. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna plate it. We're gonna make it look good, because that's where the magic comes in. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this mold, put it down, I'm going to pack it with the tartare, and then I'm gonna just lay some crostinis around it, put some microgreens, and we have one little thing at the end to do to make it look even better. Now I'm gonna take a little spoon, I'm just gonna pat everything down. I want to fill out the shape. That's what I'm looking for. Voila. Looks great. I'm gonna take some microgreens and put them all around to help with the shape, but I'm gonna leave a little center right in the middle. Last trick, we're gonna take an egg. We're only gonna put the yolk right in the middle. So all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take egg, crack here, open it up. You can use your fingers if you want this way. Now my egg yolk goes right in the middle. Okay, we're basically done. I'm just gonna now put these little bruschettinis all around it. Oh, this one even looks like a heart. We're gonna put that one right there. There we go. Looks absolutely fantastic. Bon appetit. Let's give it a shot. Parfait, très délicieux. Okay, enjoy. Super easy to make.